Welcome to Mind Polish, to a journey beyond the confines of fossil fuels. Today, we embark on an exploration of the future, a future powered by innovation, sustainability, and limitless potential. As the world grapples with the urgent need to transition to cleaner, more sustainable energy sources, the quest for alternatives to fossil fuels has never been more crucial. The consequences of our reliance on fossil fuels are starkly evident, from air pollution choking our cities to the looming specter of climate change threatening our planet's very existence. But amidst these challenges lies a beacon of hope, a diverse array of alternative energy sources poised to revolutionize the way we power our world. Join us as we delve into the realm of renewable energy, from the boundless potential of solar and wind power to the untapped depths of geothermal and tidal energy. We'll uncover the pros and cons of each alternative, exploring their strengths, their challenges, and their role in shaping the future of energy. Several alternative energy sources have existed for a while that have the potential to replace fossil fuels for electricity generation, transportation, and heating, or at least curb our need for petrol. Let us explore some of the most prominent ones. Let's begin with solar energy, a transformative innovation spanning decades, empowering countless households to tap into the boundless energy of sunlight through photovoltaic cells or solar panels. Today, it stands as a cornerstone of renewable energy, offering an abundant and accessible source of power to communities worldwide. Like any invention, there are pros and cons for its use. So what are the pros to solar energy? Solar is virtually limitless, as sunlight is available in abundance around the globe. It offers a sustainable energy solution that can be tapped into for centuries to come, especially as the efficiency of its cells increase year after year. Once solar panels are installed, the operating costs are relatively low. There are no fuel costs associated with solar power, unlike fossil fuels where the cost of extraction and transportation can be significant. Solar power can be deployed at various scales, making it adaptable to different energy needs. From small rooftop installations on residential buildings to large utility-scale solar farms covering vast expanses of land, solar technology offers flexibility in deployment. Now as for the cons for using solar, it starts with it being an intermittent energy source. Solar power generation is dependent on sunlight availability, which varies based on factors like time of day, season, and weather conditions. This intermittency poses challenges for meeting energy demand consistently, especially during periods of low sunlight or at night. While solar power has low operating costs once installed, the initial investment for infrastructure and equipment is still significant. This includes the cost of solar panels, inverters, mounting systems, and other components required for installation, as well as the labor work cost. Although this factor has decreased tremendously over the years, it still is a barrier for many. Large-scale solar installations, such as solar farms, require significant land area for deployment. In some regions, this can raise concerns about land use conflicts, including competition with agriculture or natural habitats. Additionally, land degradation and habitat fragmentation are potential environmental impacts associated with extensive solar development. While solar energy itself does not produce pollution during electricity generation, one potential environmental concern associated with solar panels is the pollution generated during the manufacturing process as well as when the panels reach the end of their life. The production of solar panels involves the use of various chemicals, materials, and energy-intensive processes, which lead to emissions of greenhouse gases and other pollutants if not properly managed. Also, until today, efforts at recycling these components have not been commercialized yet. Now, let's turn our attention to wind power. Wind turbines, marvels of engineering, harness the kinetic energy of the wind and transform it into electricity. Wind power stands as a testament to technological prowess, having evolved into a mature technology that continues to experience remarkable growth and innovation in recent years. Starting with the pros, it is an abundant and renewable resource. Wind energy is derived from the kinetic energy of moving air masses, which are driven by solar radiation and the Earth's rotation. This resource is abundant and renewable, making wind power a good sustainable option for electricity generation. Once wind turbines are installed and operational, the ongoing operating costs are relatively low compared to fossil fuel-based power generation. There are no fuel costs associated with wind energy, and maintenance expenses are typically manageable. Wind power can be deployed at various scales, from small wind turbines for individual homes or businesses to large utility-scale wind farms spanning hundreds of acres. Moreover, wind turbines can be installed both onshore and offshore, allowing for flexible deployment strategies that leverage different wind resources. However, there are cons. They are an intermittent energy source, like solar. One of the primary challenges of wind power is its intermittent nature. Wind speed and consistency can vary significantly over time, leading to fluctuations in electricity generation. This intermittency poses challenges for grid stability and reliability, requiring backup power sources or energy storage solutions to compensate for periods of low wind. Onshore wind farms can have visual and aesthetic impacts on landscapes, especially in areas with scenic or natural beauty. Additionally, the spinning blades of wind turbines can produce noise, which may be a concern for nearby residents. While modern wind turbines are designed to minimize noise levels, it remains an issue in some cases. Potential for harm to wildlife. Wind turbines can pose risks to wildlife, particularly birds and bats. Collisions with rotating turbine blades and habitat disruption due to the presence of wind farms can impact local wildlife populations. However, it's worth noting that the extent of these impacts varies depending on factors such as turbine placement, migratory patterns, and wildlife mitigation measures implemented during project planning and development. Hydroelectric power emerges as another great sustainable energy source. By harnessing the kinetic force of flowing or cascading water, hydroelectric dams wield immense potential to generate electricity. Although a well-established technology, its scalability faces constraints owing to environmental considerations and geographical constraints. Starting with the pros, it is a reliable and predictable source of electricity. Hydroelectric power provides a reliable and predictable source of electricity since it is not dependent on variable factors like sunlight or wind. The flow of water can be managed to match electricity demand, making hydroelectricity an essential component of baseload power generation. Once hydroelectric dams are constructed, the operating costs are relatively low compared to other forms of electricity generation. Additionally, hydroelectric infrastructure, including dams and turbines, typically has a long operational lifespan, often lasting several decades with proper maintenance. There also exists hydroelectric turbines catering to smaller needs like individual homes or small farms settled along streams. Hydroelectric dams can serve multiple purposes beyond electricity generation. They can provide flood control by regulating the flow of water, mitigating the risk of downstream flooding during periods of heavy rainfall or snowmelt. Furthermore, reservoirs created by dams can be used for irrigation purposes, enhancing agricultural productivity in surrounding areas. The cons, however, include limited geographical availability. Hydroelectric power generation is constrained by the availability of suitable water resources. Regions with abundant rivers and high rainfall are better suited for large-scale hydroelectric projects, while arid or geographically flat regions may have limited potential for hydroelectric development. The construction and operation of hydroelectric dams can have significant environmental impacts. including habitat disruption and alteration of river ecosystems. Damming rivers can disrupt natural flow patterns, impacting fish migration, aquatic biodiversity, and riparian habitats. Additionally, changes in water temperature and sediment transport downstream of dams can further alter ecosystem dynamics. There are also inherent risks associated with large dams, including concerns about dam safety and the potential for catastrophic failures. Proper maintenance and monitoring are essential to mitigate these risks and ensure the safety of nearby communities. Furthermore, reservoir sedimentation can reduce the storage capacity of dams over time, leading to operational inefficiencies and increased sediment transport downstream. Delving deeper into the realm of alternative energy, we encounter geothermal energy, a formidable contender in the quest for sustainability. Geothermal power plants adeptly tap into the Earth's subterranean heat reserves to produce electricity or deliver heating solutions. Renowned for its reliability and minimal environmental footprint, yet its reach remains limited by geographical constraints. The pros include that it is a reliable and consistent source of baseload electricity and heating. Unlike solar and wind energy, which are intermittent, geothermal power plants can operate 24/7, providing a stable source of energy to meet both electricity and heating demands. Geothermal energy has low greenhouse gas emissions compared to fossil fuels. The process of harnessing geothermal energy involves extracting heat from the Earth's crust, which produces minimal emissions of greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide and methane. This makes geothermal energy a cleaner alternative to coal, oil, and natural gas for electricity generation and heating. Geothermal power plants have a long operational lifespan, often exceeding 30 years with proper maintenance. Additionally, geothermal energy production typically requires minimal land footprint compared to other forms of energy generation. Once a geothermal reservoir is tapped, the land above it can often continue to be used for other purposes, such as agriculture or conservation. However, there are cons, including it being geographically constrained to regions with accessible geothermal resources, typically located near tectonic plate boundaries or areas with high heat flow from the Earth's mantle. This limits the widespread deployment of geothermal energy and restricts its availability to specific regions, often making it less accessible compared to other renewable energy sources like solar and wind. The development of geothermal energy projects requires significant upfront capital investment for drilling and infrastructure. Exploration and drilling to identify suitable geothermal reservoirs can be costly, and the construction of power plants and transmission infrastructure adds to the initial investment. While geothermal energy has low operating costs once operational, the high upfront costs can be a barrier to widespread adoption. There are concerns about the potential for subsurface resource depletion and induced seismicity associated with geothermal energy production. Extracting heat from underground reservoirs can lead to a decline in reservoir pressure over time, reducing the longevity of the resource. Additionally, the injection of water into geothermal reservoirs for enhanced heat recovery can induce seismic activity in some cases, although the risk can be mitigated through proper reservoir management and monitoring. Biomass energy is another alternative to fossil fuels, which involves using organic materials like wood, agricultural residues, or waste to produce heat, electricity, or biofuels. It's a versatile source, but can raise concerns about land use and emissions. Among the pros is that it is a versatile energy source. Biomass energy is a versatile resource with applications in electricity generation, heating, and transportation fuels. Biomass can be converted into various forms of energy, including solid biomass, such as wood pellets and agricultural residues, liquid biofuels, like ethanol and biodiesel, and biogas, produced from anaerobic digestion of organic waste. Biomass energy utilizes organic waste materials such as agricultural residues, forestry residues, and organic municipal waste, reducing the need for landfill disposal and mitigating methane emissions from decomposition. By converting waste materials into energy, biomass helps to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and minimize environmental pollution. Biomass energy production can provide economic opportunities for rural communities, particularly in areas with abundant agricultural and forestry resources. Biomass feedstock production, processing, and energy generation can create jobs and stimulate local economies, contributing to rural development and energy security. The cons, however, include carbon emissions from combustion. Biomass combustion releases carbon dioxide, contributing to climate change. While biomass is considered a renewable energy source, carbon emissions from combustion can offset its environmental benefits unless carbon sequestration measures are implemented. Sustainable forest management practices and carbon capture and storage (CCS) technologies can help mitigate these emissions. Biomass energy production can compete with food production for land and resources, leading to land use conflicts and potential food security concerns. Large-scale biomass cultivation for energy purposes may encroach on agricultural land, water resources, and natural habitats, raising ethical and environmental questions about land use priorities and resource allocation. Biomass combustion, particularly in inefficient systems or without proper emission controls, can result in air pollution and health impacts. Nuclear energy is a century-long endeavor that involves splitting atoms to release energy. It's a low-carbon source of electricity but comes with concerns about nuclear waste disposal, safety, and proliferation risks. The pros include that it possesses high energy density. Nuclear power has a remarkably high energy density, meaning that a small amount of nuclear fuel can produce a large amount of electricity. This efficiency makes nuclear power plants highly effective at generating large quantities of electricity, which is particularly valuable for meeting high demand periods. Nuclear power generation produces low greenhouse gas emissions compared to fossil fuels. While there are some emissions associated with the mining and processing of uranium fuel, the actual operation of nuclear power plants does not release carbon dioxide or other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. As a result, nuclear power is considered a low-carbon energy source, contributing to efforts to mitigate climate change. Nuclear power plants provide reliable baseload power, meaning they can operate continuously at a high capacity factor, often exceeding 90%. This reliability ensures a stable supply of electricity to the grid, which is crucial for meeting the constant demand for electricity. The cons often offset consideration for nuclear energy. One of the most significant concerns associated with nuclear power is the risk of accidents, such as meltdowns or reactor core breaches, which can lead to radioactive releases into the environment. Events like the Chernobyl disaster in 1986 and the Fukushima Daiichi accident in 2011 have highlighted the potential catastrophic consequences of nuclear accidents, including long-term health effects and environmental contamination. Nuclear power generation produces radioactive waste, including spent fuel rods and other byproducts of nuclear fission. Disposal of radioactive waste presents significant challenges due to its long-lived and hazardous nature. Safely storing and disposing of nuclear waste is an ongoing concern, with no universally accepted long-term solution currently in place. The spread of nuclear technology for energy production raises concerns about nuclear proliferation, particularly regarding the potential diversion of nuclear materials or technology for weapons development. The dual-use nature of nuclear technology complicates efforts to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons and maintain international security. Nuclear power plants require substantial upfront capital investment and have long lead times for construction, often spanning several years or even decades. The high costs and lengthy construction timelines can make nuclear projects financially challenging and economically risky, especially in competitive energy markets. Public perception of nuclear power is often influenced by safety concerns, environmental risks, and perceptions of nuclear waste disposal. Opposition from local communities, environmental groups, and regulatory challenges can hinder the development of new nuclear projects, leading to delays, cost overruns, and project cancellations. Tidal and wave energy is also another alternative energy source which utilizes the kinetic energy of ocean tides and waves to generate electricity. These technologies are still in the early stages of development but have significant potential, especially in coastal regions. The pros include that it is a predictable and reliable energy sources. Tidal and wave energy are predictable and reliable renewable energy sources, particularly in coastal regions where they are most viable. Tides are governed by gravitational forces, providing a consistent and predictable source of energy with known tidal patterns. Waves, driven by winds and ocean currents, offer a reliable and continuous energy source with relatively high energy density along coastlines. Tidal and wave energy technologies typically have minimal visual impact compared to other renewable energy sources such as wind turbines or solar panels. Most tidal energy devices are submerged underwater or located offshore, minimizing their visibility from the coastline and preserving scenic views. Tidal and wave energy projects have the potential to synergize with other offshore industries such as aquaculture and shipping. By co-locating energy infrastructure with existing offshore activities, such as fish farms or shipping lanes, developers can optimize resource utilization and minimize conflicts with other ocean uses. The cons include that it is an emerging technology with high upfront costs. Tidal and wave energy technologies are still in the early stages of development, facing technical challenges and high upfront costs compared to more mature renewable energy sources like wind and solar. Research and development efforts are ongoing to improve the efficiency and cost-effectiveness of tidal and wave energy devices, but significant investments are required to bring these technologies to commercial viability. Tidal and wave energy projects can have environmental impacts on marine ecosystems and wildlife. Installation and operation of tidal turbines and wave energy converters may disrupt marine habitats and migration patterns, potentially leading to habitat loss or alteration. Noise generated by underwater turbines can also affect marine organisms, particularly species sensitive to acoustic disturbances. Tidal and wave energy resources are geographically constrained to coastal regions with suitable tidal currents or wave climates. This limited availability restricts the deployment of tidal and wave energy technologies to specific coastal areas, often requiring favorable geographic conditions and significant investment in offshore infrastructure. Hydrogen emerges as a compelling alternative to fossil fuels, offering versatility and environmental benefits. Produced from renewable sources such as water electrolysis or biomass gasification, hydrogen serves as a clean energy carrier. Its applications span from fueling transportation to powering industrial processes, marking a pivotal shift towards sustainability in our energy landscape. The pros include that it is a versatile energy carrier. Hydrogen is a versatile energy carrier that can be used in various sectors, including transportation, industry, and energy storage. It can be combusted in fuel cells to generate electricity for electric vehicles, used as a feedstock in industrial processes such as refining and manufacturing, or stored and later converted back into electricity through fuel cells or combustion engines. It is a clean alternative to fossil fuels. Hydrogen can be produced from various renewable sources such as water electrolysis using renewable electricity or biomass gasification. When produced from renewable sources, hydrogen offers a clean alternative to fossil fuels, emitting only water vapor when used as an energy carrier. This can help reduce greenhouse gas emissions and mitigate climate change. Hydrogen can complement intermittent renewable energy sources like solar and wind by providing grid flexibility and energy storage capabilities. Excess renewable electricity can be used to produce hydrogen through electrolysis during periods of low demand, and the stored hydrogen can be converted back into electricity when needed, helping to balance supply and demand on the grid. The cons include that it is energy-intensive in its production processes. Hydrogen production processes can be energy-intensive, especially if derived from fossil fuels without carbon capture and storage, CCS. Steam methane reforming, SMR, the most common method for hydrogen production, releases carbon dioxide as a byproduct unless coupled with CCS, which adds complexity and cost to the production process. Hydrogen faces challenges with storage, distribution, and infrastructure due to its low energy density and unique handling requirements. Hydrogen must be stored and transported under high pressure or cryogenic conditions, requiring specialized storage tanks and pipelines. Additionally, building out hydrogen infrastructure, including refueling stations and distribution networks, is costly and time-consuming. Cost competitiveness is also another problem. Hydrogen currently faces cost competitiveness challenges compared to conventional fuels like gasoline and diesel, as well as other alternative energy options such as battery electric vehicles and renewable electricity. The high costs associated with hydrogen production, storage, and infrastructure limit its widespread adoption and deployment, particularly in markets where cheaper alternatives are available. Each of these alternative energy sources has its advantages and challenges, and often a combination of these sources is needed to meet energy demand sustainably while reducing reliance on fossil fuels. Although fossil fuels won't be going anywhere anytime soon, these sources of energy are sure to offer us the energy we need in a more economical manner. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Which of these or a combination of these energy sources do you think we will keep relying on? Don't forget to subscribe to get more useful content, and like this video to help it reach people seeking knowledge. Until next time.